Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
And welcome everybody to FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. This is the Fighting Irish Daily Blitz, and I'm your host, Rob Fidoff, also known as RPT. You can find me on Twitter at PFidoff. So for episode 75 today, I was first going to talk about the spring game, but I'm going to wait for episode 76. There's not too much to talk about. It's a pretty typical spring game, and I have some other news to talk about during that time, which will probably be less than 10 minutes, that podcast. But for this subject here, I need some time to talk about it because it's all we're going to talk about for this subject here. And I actually have visual aids. We get down to the nitty gritty because what I saw Friday, I just didn't like what I saw. There are greater tragedies in the world, but when you have a certain amount of time to put out a product, and this is very subjective, don't get me wrong, but I think the majority of people feel the same way as me. They may not have the guts to say it, but I'm going to say it here to you for episode 75. So Friday around 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Notre Dame was streaming live on YouTube the unveiling of the shirt, 2023 version. For those of you that aren't aware, since 1991, I believe, the student body and various alumni, they get this idea of the shirt where the student body wears this shirt in the student section for games, and the general public can purchase this shirt as well. There's a design that goes into it, and then I think you can purchase them for anywhere from like $25 to $40 because now they have long sleeve, baby sizes, toddler sizes, you name it. And it's a great cause. Don't get me wrong. It goes to various charities at Notre Dame, whether it's like mission trips for students, third world country type of things. Don't quote me on like the specifics here, but it does go to various great causes. So that's a great job what the student body and alumni is doing. But for the actual, and again, I know this is in the grand scheme of things, this really isn't important, but to me, I like to put a good product out there. But the actual design of this, the last couple years, is less to be desired, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm just saying when you have all this time, these students are really smart. I mean, they're paying $75,000 a year from what I've heard per year in education. And I just think the product's got to be a little bit better, especially if these students are marketing or some type of design. I don't know what type of degrees Notre Dame has like for design or stuff like that. I'm sure they have something. I know they have a marketing department for the business school, but I just expect a little bit better. If I was interviewing and their final product, because these kids are going to be out in the real world pretty soon, this would have got a non-passing grade. I would have looked at another resume or another presentation from someone else, is what I'm trying to say here. Looked at Monster, if that still exists, monster.com, indeed.com, some sort of recruiter. If I saw this display, if I was the hiring person for this type of project, is what I'm saying. So I'm hoping Tim can put a visual up here for when they unveiled the shirt. That was the thing too, that it was supposed to be live where Coach Free, because I went to it last year because I was at the spring game and it was raining. So they did it in the main library and Coach Freeman came in, he unveiled the shirts, and they did it outside this year. But then the stream, for whatever reason, they had technical difficulties and it wasn't live at all. So that was another mishap. But I will say, again, hopefully Tim can put a visual up here so you can see, or you can just Google 2023 Notre Dame, the shirt or student body shirt. Here's the one thing I do somewhat like, but you can get the same color anywhere. The color is a Kelly green, which is a great color. Don't get me wrong, but you can get an undershirt from Hanes or Fruit of the Loom at Kohl's. That's the thing too. The design of this shirt, I've seen so many variations of this shirt in the past probably 10 to 15 years where you can just go to, if you're in South Bend or if you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you know how here in Columbus, Ohio, every Kohl's or Marshalls you go to, you see Ohio State stuff. You go across the border in Indiana, all you see is Purdue, Indiana, and mostly Notre Dame. Go to Kohl's, Marshalls, or another, store like that, you're going to see a very similar shirt like this. So the first part of the front part of the shirt, it's got 2023, an ND symbol on it, which we've seen 1,000 times before. And it says March on to victory. Okay, big deal. Then on the back, it's got 4 Notre Dame players on it. And it says rally for old Notre Dame, a ho-hum type of slogan that we've seen 1,000 times before. It has like a shamrock in the background with like white in the middle for a design. It doesn't do anything for me. I know all this is subjective, but I just think the typical Notre Dame fan is going to agree with me with this. Whether they have the guts to say it, that's another thing. It has a player going like this with number 1 for the number. Okay, whatever. And I don't know what that number 1 means. The only thing I can think of, because I looked online to see what these numbers meant, no one really knows what the number 1 is. The only thing I can assume is that is what we strive to be again. Because the last time we finished the season in football, number 1 was 1988, going on 35 years. Then there's a number 87. That's for 1887, the first year for Notre Dame football. Number 7 is for 7 Heisman trophies. And then number 11 is for number of national titles. And the thing is, too, with 87, 7, and 11, any typical Notre Dame fan knows that. So why do you have to put it on a shirt with something we know? And catch 22 for the Notre Dame fan that really doesn't know the history, or you're just, your standard fan, they're going to be confused by that. So why put something we already know or something else that we're going to be confused by? Just you're overthinking the whole thing right here. And here's the kicker. If you look at the number 11 football player on the back of the shirt for 2023, it's a picture of Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees played here from 2010 to 2013, and he was the offensive coordinator the last 3 years at Notre Dame. He went to Alabama. He's now working for Nick Saban. He has nothing to do with Notre Dame right now. Why would you put him on the back of the shirt? Nothing against Tommy Rees, but just lazy design right there. And all they did was take probably from one of the programs, a picture of Tommy Rees, and then just transposed it on the shirt. You had all this time. I got to think they've had at least, a couple months to design this shirt. And the thing is, too, nowadays, back in the day, we didn't have computer graphic type thing where you could look at a design and see that looks okay. Let's try another design. You have multiple options now where you don't have to actually create a shirt and then just kind of go with it. They have all the resources in the world now to create a shirt. So I just don't get this whole design. The color's okay, but this just doesn't work for me, people. So I know these are smart kids. They're going to be getting out into the workforce pretty soon. It's going to get a lot tougher. You've been in college the last couple years. It's probably been a great experience, but you're going to have. And here's the thing too. I put the same type of criticism on various Notre Dame message boards this weekend. A lot of people agreed with me, but a lot of people jumped on my ass too because, how can you do this? All these students are working so hard for this. You're going to hurt their feelings. Get over it. These are adults. They're headed out to the workforce. It's going to get a lot harder for them going forward. Yes, they're going to get pretty good jobs, but college life is going to end for them pretty soon. So grow a pair right now. I'm getting you ready for the real world right now. So having said that, I know education at Notre Dame right now, from what I hear, it's about $75,000 a year. Probably money well spent. A Notre Dame degree, I would love to have a Notre Dame degree. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to give you the free RPT advice where you don't need the $75,000 a year to make a decent shirt. So here's the thing. I want to take a step back first. I run in a 7K race every summer. It's called the Shawshank Hustle. It's up in Mansfield, Ohio, where they filmed 90% of the movie, The Shawshank Redemption, probably, if not the greatest movie ever, along with Jaws, a movie from 1994. It's a 7K race, a lot of hills. It's a very challenging race, but it's a very rewarding race too once you're done. You feel like you got a great workout in, is what I'm trying to say. It's a 2-hour movie, 2 hours and 4 minutes. And I know there's only so much you can do for the medals, because they give a medal for everybody that finishes. And I keep thinking each year they just cannot up the ante anymore. They just can't keep coming up with all these great ideas. But they started this race in 2015. And I mentioned here earlier, it's only a 2-hour and 4-minute movie. So you would think ideas would run out fast. No. They set the bar higher and higher each year. Now, I will say there's a couple medals where one year I thought was a little bit better than the other. But for creativity and just the mere thoughts of thinking outside the box and taking risks, which I wish this committee would do, they're knocking it out of the park. So here we go. And I hope you can see this. So the first year, 2015, I believe. Yeah, because I've ran in this pretty much every year, but I have every single medal. So this is 2015. Very durable metal. As you can see, I'm trying to bend it. It's solid metal here. And then it just says Shawshank Hustle, the Ohio State Reformatory. Basic, but it's a good medal. I've been in other races before. We're just real flimsy type medals and nothing to write home about. So that's 2015. 2016. You got a ball and chain. It says Shawshank. Whoops. This is hard to, when I'm looking at it. Okay, here we go. Shawshank Hustle. 2016. There we go. That's better. 2016. They got the year on it this year. A ball and chain here. You see how it's getting a little bit better each year? At least a better design. You really don't see too much involved with the movie yet. 2017 is where they start thinking about what's in the movie. Remember the tree where Morgan Freeman Red goes there to get the money that Andy Dufresne left him so he can get to Zihuatanejo? That tree, unfortunately, was struck by lightning. They couldn't nurse it back to health. They chopped it down, and now they make really nice furniture with it for what's left. You can get sawdust even for $20. And here's the actual, look at that. They upped the ante again. It's a picture of the tree. This was from 2017. You see how they keep getting better each year. Now, 2018. As I said earlier, how can they keep getting better and better each year or more creative? This is 2018. You got a cell, and then you open this up, and you got Tim Robbins. Remember when he went through the sewer, where they said it was 5 football fields? I think it was 5 football fields or 3. I think it was 5. And then he gets out of that shithole more or less, and then it's raining. Then he goes like this, so you can close it. And then open it. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm thinking there's just no way. Well, 2019 comes around. And remember when the warden Norton had the Bible, the big hypocrite that he was. So here it's a Bible, and the medals are getting heavier and heavier each year too. In the back, it says 5th Annual Shawshank Hustle. And then here, you got to get a good grip here because there's a magnet. And it goes to that Bible passage in Exodus. And then the actual pickaxe that he used to more or less tunnel through over the years. I think he was there 20 years. And this comes out too. I don't want to take it out because sometimes it's harder to put back in than it should be. So right there. And I'm thinking, holy Toledo, how can they keep getting better? We still got 3 medals to go. So this was the COVID year, 2020. Where everything was virtual. And remember the poster that he had in his cell to hide the fact that he was taking that little pickaxe or whatever to drill through I shouldn't say drill, he wasn't drilling, but to constantly pick away at the wall there. So Raquel Welch, I don't even know what movie this is from. You see that. And then this does open up. I don't want to, because it's when you open it, sometimes it's tough to I jammed my finger once because there's a metal in here. I thought I broke it at one time, but at the back of this here, what I'm trying to say is I just don't want to mess things up and then delay this podcast anymore. And then you see a picture of when he rips off the poster, Ward Norton, and you see you can't really see it here, and that's the back. So front, and then when he rips it off here, back. I mean, as I said, it's getting better and better. They're upping the ante. Now, 2021, I'll say this one probably wasn't as good as the first two, but it's still pretty damn good. It's a picture of the actual prison from Shawshank Redemption. Then if you open it, it's got pictures from the movie and pictures from other races. So I'd say this was probably not as good as the previous 2 years, but still pretty good. Now, last year, this to me, this is probably the best one. And they said this year's is going to be, they haven't released it yet, it's going to be out of this world. And this is where, remember when the warden had his safe with all the transactions that they were doing illegally, and the Bible was in there too? Here's that picture there. And this is a heavy metal. So you're there, it's the actual, his judgment cometh, and that right soon. And then here, I got to be careful too, because here's another magnet where when you put this back, okay, I did it there. So if you open it up, here's a picture of the warden, Andy Dufresne, and then the actual safe. And then you got to be really careful, because I got my fingers jammed in there last year, and I thought I broke it, but I didn't. It just kind of stung me a little bit. But long story short, you see how they've had this race now for, let's see here, we got how many medals we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 years for a 2-hour and 4-minute movie, and they're still coming up with pretty damn good ideas. Whereas I know they've had this shirt since 1991, but you got to start thinking outside the box. Take some risks. If it fails, it fails, but I'd rather have you take a risk and something fail, or that play it safe for something that we've already seen before. Because if you look at that shirt, I've seen that shirt for other shirts previous years, and just other basic designs from either Under Armour, Champion, or other sponsors that Notre Dame has over the last couple years. I just think this was a very lazy attempt for the shirt. There's probably more creativity, because they have game day shirts for Notre Dame home games, where it is pretty much a basic white shirt, whether it's Hanes or Fruit of the Loom. And then they just paste a decal of the opponent for that day, and then maybe something else in the back. It might be the schedule for our home games, or for our remaining games, or for the entire schedule. But to me, that's even more creative than this past 2023 shirt. So the Shawshank Redemption, or Shawshank Hustle, the Shawshank Hustle in Mansfield, Ohio, has more creativity, and they're more limited than what Notre Dame can do for the shirt. Because I don't know why, like this year, it's the 35th anniversary of our last national title. Why not affiliate that somehow with the shirt? I know you don't want to live in the past too much, but use that somehow to make this shirt pop. And, you know, you had the Catholics versus Convicts. That's the 35th anniversary of that game this year. I know there's only so much you can do with copyright stuff, but they can get around that. They don't have to put an actual Miami, like the U on the helmet. They can just put the colors there and get away with it. In any event, I told you, I think education there is about $75,000 at Notre Dame right now. I'm sure there's marketing and design students on this committee for the students. Well, I'm going to give you some free advice right here. I give you how the Shawshank Hustle Committee does a hell of a job each year. Well, here's what you need to do. Of all these years, now I know to have a blue shirt, because sometimes they like to have a green out game at Notre Dame, and the green just pops. I get that. To have a blue shirt, that's a little bit tougher to do. So I can see kind of abandoning that color. I think that one year they did have a gold, but it was more or less a khaki. I got some khaki pants right here, but you can see it's kind of a gold. The gold kind of pops. I know it's not, your traditional gold, but this type of khaki color pops. Why not have that as the base? And because I think they think it just has to be one color throughout the shirt. So whether it's blue, gold, khaki, or green, you can use all three colors in the shirt. The baseball team, their green jerseys, they do a great job. They combine green, blue, the gold color in that. I was watching a game the other night, and I'm like, man, that's really good design. But for this one, have the main base, okay, be that color that I just showed you. I'll show it to you one more time. So right there. And then why not have like the sleeves? So if I bring out that other shirt here, the one from last year. So maybe like just like up to, kind of tough to show here, like right up to there, you see where the divider is for the sleeves. Make that like this color of blue. Make that right there. Make the collar blue, not this wide color like what women wear to show off their jewelry. And then make the base of the shirt that dark blue as well. And then at the front, have your shamrock in green. And then in the middle, I'd probably say you'd want to go with a dark blue there or whatever. Like I said, you have the technology now where you can test out shirts on a computer and see what works best. Have a we are, and in the back, have another shamrock and say ND. Very basic. We all know that slogan. We are ND. It's like a so-called battle cry for, Ohio State has OHIO. We have We Are ND. It's not anything major at all. It's something we all know, but it's going to pop. And if you want to have so-called like a gold out game, you still can have that gold colors, but that gold's going to pop so much more because the boundaries on the sleeves at the bottom and then that shamrock on the front is going to pop more because the base is gold. That's just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. As I said earlier, you don't have to pay $75,000 from me. You don't have to pay me $75,000. I'm giving you this free advice. But I just think year after year after year, I know this shirt goes to a great cause. Don't get me wrong. Let's just start thinking about the product too. It is, as I said earlier too, it's the least of our concern. You want to raise the money for charity, but at the same time, get that product popping right now. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully they take my advice, the student body, for next year. I think that's a great idea. I'll say it again. Base being gold, your trim on your sleeves being that dark blue, the collar even as well, the base. Have a nice, Kelly green shamrock there that says We Are, probably in blue colors, and then ND, another shamrock in the back. And I think that'd be a great shirt. And it would pop out if you want to say, hey, let's have a gold out game or just something where a special occasion. And then, too, use some of the history. We don't want to live in the past because a lot of people say Notre Dame fans live too much in the past. But at the same time, you're limited with your ideas. But as I showed you with Shawshank, they use everything they can from that movie to keep coming up with great ideas. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 75. And as always, go Irish.